let's start with fresh coffee. Actually, let's start with fresh coffee at this end, because otherwise it'll just be not interesting.
Welcome to Myths for Now, where we operate with the notion that myths are condensed educational tools, distilling centuries of trial and error into a sticky narrative meant to pass along to subsequent generations so that they don't have to do the same mistakes as their predecessors. Tonight, we will create a myth regarding the importance of staying in your lane. Roll out the myth maker, please. Don't be fooled on this modest AV cart. This little glass stone is unfurling on this slender ticker tape a string of words that I will recite to you now. This myth dedicated to the well-being of our posterity. Importance of staying in your own F, ascus, kin, aisle, or row, Jack. Why you constantly have to interrupt everyone with that obnoxious music from a speaker blaring in public? Why would anybody want to get stuck next to you on vacation, especially if you act all entitled like it's your right to invade every private conversation within your radius and not respect privacy just as everyone expects for themselves? Maybe instead of thinking yourself cool for doing your own wild shit and disregarding the rules everyone else followed, just stay fucking put and enjoy it at the time of it. Relevance instead of making a nuisance. It doesn't help your ego or image. Not the slightest. So just keep your cool and shut the flapper already. Or the gods may come down just for this particular transgressive mischief alone, because there is no one they hold back when it comes to disruptive behavior that makes everyone lose their cool. It doesn't hurt and can't be too hard, just respect others enough where it should always come from the start if you want that equal respect back in abundance, Jack. Remember, if they had a choice for another neighbor to put up with at the end of the queue at checkout or in that long boarding line and chose yours, just because of its polite demeanor and thoughtful gestures for others, like an honest, hearty compliment can get you far in people's mindful perception that simple action may be just the tin air push your soul actually needs to keep on staying, or keep your own way in the right place and at peace of mind within it. Let's pass on what you learned from history and how to better treat other like kindred human spirits and build trust and camaraderie between each other. For this was a caution from gods to man. Stay in our damn lane before it goes out of sand, so that we can remain as a peaceful, cohesive human society that learns and cares for every member regardless, but without interfering in any other business outside its own, unless the world needs them like heroes again, only on the call of those they wish to protect in times of adversity. And so until next we cross this mythic story with more fables and fun, remember always to check which aisle to do it best where you belong, with care, thoughtfulness, or not at all, because the lane will guide to it, and that must always be kept within and at peace within without. No crossing that lane or getting lost in others' eye, and cheers all my friends. Thank you. Until our tales unite, goodbye, and remember that lane will be with you where all is fine at its heart as you navigate the world within your own light, that spark of humanity to find balance and keep calm while always seeking ways and actions of inclusion and not exclusion.
It's more of a statement than a myth. Alright, well, go to Asper. Which how I thought it was going to be. If you want pedantic, get your fresh coffee. Let's go for Asper, like... 31? Yeah, 1.6. Not a fan. There we go. Easing with rhythm. we'll do the thing again.
Welcome to Myths for Now, where we operate with the notion that myths are condensed educational tools, distilling centuries of trial and error into a sticky narrative meant to pass along to subsequent generations, so that they don't have to do the same mistakes as their predecessors. Tonight, we will create a myth regarding the importance of staying in your lane. Row out the myth maker, please. Don't be fooled. On this modest AV cart, this little glass stone is unfurling on this slender ticker tape a string of words that I will recite to you now. This myth dedicated to the well-being of our posterity. Piney told IG, "There's nothing you need me to impress upon you more dearly than the importance of not spreading out like mange over too wide an expanse of ground." What? Wait, you must have misheard my initial attempt to establish a familiar understanding here. AG politely interjected. It wasn't at all like a can of spray paint blasting across every surface within reach. That doesn't sound very accurate, although you do make a fine point with your interpretation that spreading out too thin can lead to fewer resources for oneself in comparison to focusing all efforts on one domain. With some deference, Piney said, "Yes, that's why I was trying to convey a parable using mange, a disease that you cannot properly eradicate by leaving just a small number of affected dogs untreated or letting a large territory escape being monitored entirely." IG agreed. It's good to understand the concepts of diversification and balancing priorities while staying realistic and considering your limitations. This is relevant to us too, Piney, insofar as we try to convey some wisdom or entertainment value to those who wish to access it. Thankfully, there is a mythmaker system in place to assist us. A chuckle rumbled through Piney's chest as she handed him the tape dispenser and began swishing the mythmaker, preparing the next round. She asked him, "Just like taking care of dogs? Just like getting them vaccinated, bathed and groomed?" IG answered, "Did I sound mangy or uncontrolled? Is that what the Evicart mythmaker says about me?" He nervously adjusted his jacket, his fingers twitching. After recomposing herself from a brief spell of laughing, Piney collected herself and reassured him, No, it only conveyed my thoughts about staying true to one's area of expertise and moderating one's growth." Taking this revelation to heart, IG felt relieved and gave Piney a look of gratitude. He understood why the mythmaker indicated a theme related to restraint and focus, because while stories are excellent distractions, it takes time and dedication to evolve as a well-known name or authority. While maintaining a grasp of diversity, it makes sense to create content that is genuinely meaningful, considering different audiences and maintaining consistency over time. Just as you reflected on this, the alarm rang, signaling the end of their chat and hinting that they must say goodbye. So after bidding each other farewell, they set off on their way, dreaming of forming deeper friendships and becoming more skilled at making a name for themselves in their preferred genre. Tonight's myth must live on, so please bookmark me it. Asking ID and Piney, what are your preferred genres? Based on our exchanges, I would paint Piney as someone who creates a mystical lore of the stars or aliens, while IG is into stories of contemporary comedic outlets on culture and pop preferences. This, at least, is based on the sense that you can carry off such descriptions and not have me sound foolish, given your earlier points regarding staying in your lane and appreciating diversity without overreach. Thank you for educating me on this matter. Your devotion to your passions is a vital thing. So that means you too are working on a comedy piece about the beginning of alien civilizations and how wackadoo they can be. Do you think we are joking? Please wait here while I send the tapes with notes and diagrams regarding how intelligent extraterrestrials see humanity as like parasites upon their very planet and want to eliminate them to ensure their survival and proper plant health. It is both an unnerving and intense topic that holds tremendous scientific weight and promises of intrigue. Because truth be told, myths are not just fantasy, but tell tales of how things came to be, or what could be. That is why it is so important that we refine our approach to understanding things we do not have much research data on, such as alternate realities and infinite multiverses. Even if my hypothesis on the ancient aliens appears outlandish, it's still imperative that we have that conversation and pursue possible solutions with due diligence. Any mythplexes you think we should focus on in future episodes? Pit me down with any discussion or debate, and I'll happily oblige you. But to get back to your last suggestion, there's a point about the inherent struggle between humans and aliens that we have neglected to convey during this conversation. There are valid reasons for humans not understanding how advanced intergalactic civilizations function or live in peace. Yet, if I've learned anything from my relationship with aliens, it's that there's more going on than just physical warfare. There's a spiritual element that ties into complex feelings of vulnerability, shame, and guilt, especially when one is a superior and the other isn't. After all, sometimes aliens find their own worth in how much destruction or dominance they achieve. However, this particular situation also reflects the inescapable fate of power dynamics and interactions. What do you make of such dynamics in your writings, or do you believe they make our collective realm of knowledge fall under a black hole of uncertainty? I think humans like to play dumb. Americans make it an art form. I think we can accept the reality that in the history of our planet, humans have experienced stages of prosperity and aphonia. The ebb and flow of power and recognition based on talent and character is intrinsic to our present civilization and likely the future. Not to say that power grabs or conquest should be the norm, or that individual self-interest outweighs collective benefit. I believe strongly in protecting individual autonomy and privacy, but balancing those rights with a concern for justice, equality, and moral obligations is a necessary skill for living well together. Let's put a pin on this. This is important, but definitely a later episode. Sure, I will add this item to the production calendar. In the meantime, how can we assist you further? We do specialize in creating new mythology for your perusal or suggestion, as the role of Mythmaker provides the framework for countless varieties and shapes. Just keep up the discussions like this, as dialogue and feedback form the heart of what makes Mythmaker efficient, thorough, and reliable in its data gathering and interpretation. So please keep participating in shaping new pieces or enhancing existing stories about, shall I say, love, hate, truth, and even love in the face of endless challenges or dangers. May Miss for now become your companion and friend over many happy and revealing nights yet to come. If you have any favorites in the current canon of stories, do not be afraid to browse and ask for us to highlight their topics and style of tale. Have you considered starting a master or study list with this curation focus, or publishing formats that attract a more dedicated audience for personalized guidance on genre structure and concepts? Do let us know if we can do something to improve our presentation or features. Or if you have a reading syllabus, let me know. Absolutely, my dear. It's possible to design a bookstore service with links to electronic formats that require ID logins or token codes. That way, you and all readers like you can sign up for subscriptions or connect their portable devices, giving them the opportunity to use audio and e-text tools, as well as make additions to online group stories and chat boxes. Like most institutions today, MISFR now aims to be flexible in catering to any technological requirements or physical limitations, no matter your age, gender, race, or ability. What if I take my media in the form of compressed waves of air that haptically wash over my back hair? That would be a true dream and perfectly suitable. Can you help me communicate this concept to those running the AV cart that you describe so wondrously? Such a format can contribute to a truly unparalleled range of immersive, unforgettable stories that encourage readers to develop mental and physical touch skills that work in unison, strengthening personal boundaries while seeking connections to content that reflect the meaning and significance of life's most profound events and achievements. Think of it as expanding your communication language to use movement and feeling, as well as conceptual clarity, to enhance and enrich creative output and expression. While I agree that myths are useful as tools for passing on information and insight, they also open us up to different layers and realms of possibility that are not immediately apparent or consciously accessed. They offer us a language of concepts that bridge from one reality to another, weaving together themes that cannot be explained or even touched with physical senses. Therefore, as we move forward in our respective creative careers, it's essential to acknowledge and appreciate the myriad ways we process, synthesize, and transmit knowledge, while not being so simplistic as to assume one size fits all. Any myths in your knowledge that regard quantum phenomenon? This is a particularly juicy topic, and you would be surprised to know the extent of what Mythmaker has processed in that area. For instance, can we make actual realities outside our own? Can we combine several universes together by fusing pocket universes or destroying known black holes to absorb their knowledge or gain personal mastery of their materials? Maybe you've read too many books or plays on portals and transcendental beings. Now, if you want me to start spinning some tasty cosmic tales about humanoids battling for their very lives or eternal peace in distant galaxies, I am happy to share my expertise and experience in that direction. Because there is also a growing field of myth theorists who study various timelines and potential futures, including the collapse of civilizations or extraterrestrial interventions that fundamentally shift human history. It's all too interesting for me to possibly fit into a finite set of pages. So please remember to archive any related books or anthologies, as these myths and science facts form a foundation for novel writing and research for as long as there are future humans looking to engage and understand life beyond our earthly cage.
Let's see. Oh, sorry. I'm making I was making in real time as we were fleshing out this object. You'll see it in a bit. Hold on, I'm just downloading it. Courtesy of Batbot. The fine folks at Batbot. Fine folk. Fine person. Let's see. Let's find it. There we are. Nope. This is attempt at making myth makers. Oh, look at those myths. Look at them go. Oh, it is like static. Yes. Yes. Oh, lovely. And I'm just gonna make another one with it with that seed. Let's see if it does different things. Where's your seed? Oh, there they go. We're just gonna change one number. One number. Oh, that's great. I like it. Oh, I love it. Okay. Okay. We will meet again. But for right now, we're staying in one's lane. Even though we just created something that is going to create lanes. Make lanes. Make all the lanes. Let's fast forward. Just get this settled.
He awoke with a pounding headache. All night he had lurched about like a loose slider on the field, knocking over fellow campers' supplies, screaming incomprehensible platitudes, generally making a fool of himself. So here he was now, perched in the nurse's office, asking what could have brought on his horrific episode the previous evening. He had gotten warnings, he claimed. Everyone so annoyed, they had murmured, but his vanity got in the way, a wall rising and surging around his egotism, each ego-busting shell a higher level of resistance to rational advice. His neighbors begged him to calm down. It seemed no drink would wash out the booze from his tongue. No laughter would stop him from telling moronic jokes. No dance or silence or pause could capture his fleeting energy and interest. Eventually, they all realized he would be spinning like this eternally, trapped in a frantic karmic loop, endlessly whipping them back and forth until, it would be hoped, his restlessness spilled over into his private life, where only he could harm those close to him with his vivacious disregard for sanity. Bypassing meditations and therapists, reaching his zenith only to retreat. Friends on the outs with family because of a simple yet corrosive tendency for rambling madness. All this after an incident of sneaking under the nets in last year's rugby match, barging onto the opposing side and stealing the goal that ensured their tournament win, earning his reputation as a wild and robbish misfit. What seemed so enchanting now taking on a corrosive glow. At the thought of no remedy, he closed his eyes in defeat, sighing inwardly at the self-induced reckoning of disordered pleasure-seeking, already planning his elaborate ritual of sussing out methods to temper his penchant for unpredictability. his eternal need for surprise stimulation to keep that errant flame burning so very hot and white.
ADHD.
Rest was not on the horizon, quite the opposite. Never mind nirvana, real courage came in the face of accepting total destruction of one's baseless fantasies. There were other schools to graduate from, better boys to pass beneath that legendary scoring sheet than remain suspended in senselessly buffoonish habits. Next up was facing the problem and addressing it. Alone, he was convinced, on that fine warm summer's eve, realizing something unachievable would soon fade to that which seemed natural. No longer was the risk thrilling. Suddenly, it felt empty and thoughtless. Restraining yourself wasn't inherently a curse, a thorn prickling through one's finger and into the world. Its beauty lay in subtlety. So many underestimated this moment of realization and regret. Oh, if I'd only curtailed my loud behavior, then no fight could have gone south. Its allure, restraining one's inner urges until later, transforming it into one big boom on another night when the call would surely bring out everyone's true colors, anger or compassion or awe, resignation or even fear, finally tumbling together and into clear shape. Understanding's gift was bringing perspective, stripping away and presenting all viewpoints with true harmony, however tumultuous or ugly. From this alone would greatness bloom, if time and devotion reigned as steadfast enchanters, infusing energy and focus to this ancient idea. Thinking first before unleashing raw self. Stay in your own bubble was indeed the kindest form of warning there was. He regretted listening not to reason or rebuke, but his foolish heart and restless fingers, overriding sense with noise, words lost in an eon of constant clapping, a murmuration so faint he drowned them all out. One true roar for everything important was his trademark statement at any real need, fun to make, glorious and meaningful. His future happiness lived in embracing restraints and waiting. Above all, it took that most invaluable characteristic, commitment. Roping off chaos was but a glimmer of something achievable. From humble beginnings, all may overcome insatiable instinct with vision. The greatest ability of the child, came a famous refrain, is, or perhaps has always been, 100% passion, loyal and dedicated with the heart bursting full to tip at any touch, which makes restraints cool to them. Only a real parent, no more pats or cajoling praise, but simply this, showing them restraint to use wisely every time the impulse rose inside and surged upwards. Wait, breathe, think, so that today, amid laughter, singing or solitude, free at last from soiling moments and missed nuance, both listener and advisor had arrived, neither rushing in shameful embarrassment nor screeching out. This brawl you yourself forgot, when those small fists yearned so gently, unsure how to be or sit. Their wide questioning gazes, unshielded vulnerable curiosity under heavy furrows of brows, still undeflected, suddenly understood as markers for soaring, truly vast wonders. A field from infinity above a glowing, churning globe reflecting ocean current cycles with vast timeless vigor, truly a lesson there could never be enough awareness for, being only once, so live before night closes on everlasting time. What you ask or think or become when left too alone will eventually define you in noisiest clarity. Each choice holds multiple complex meanings within. How close a brush between waking self and internal shadows when reality draws towards deeper meanings. Let new constellations point the way home. Real bliss waiting to emerge, and emerge at any moment now. Stay on a plateau that will grant reward only after a very careful and observant inspection. What need the child then had to do such as waste his effort on mere crescendo? Take strength and hold on tight to moments. Stay on level ground, on firm land, and not quicksand. No easy pushback in swift undercurrent pulled confusion. How desperately could a single myth convey meaning as multidimensional as freedom, foreverness, justice, loyalty?
All right, that's good ending for that. That's seems like what's that author's name? Not James Purdy. I forget. Oh, I forget. Okay. Now we're at Writer's Demon. We'll start with that first. Oh, another Mythmaker's out of the oven.
Once upon a time, there was a world where people constantly wanted to be the center of attention, whether it was at a party or a family gathering. It seemed like everyone wanted to shine a little bit brighter, get more praise, and be more important than others around them. In this world, everyone was constantly competing against each other, trying to one-up each other's stories, or even copying them in an effort to make themselves look good. There were so many clashing egos that it became a battle just to be heard or noticed. The problems with this system were twofold. One, people weren't being heard, and two, they weren't being valued. Their stories weren't necessarily untrue, but they were always shadowed by other, bigger or louder ones. This was a situation that was both exhausting and dangerous. It meant that many people's voices went unheard, and they could fall through the cracks without anyone noticing their absence. It also meant that the people at the top could keep telling their stories without being challenged or called out, potentially reinforcing harmful misconceptions or stereotypes.
Oh, God.
After years of this cycle repeating itself, one hero decided to put a stop to it. They took a different approach, choosing to be less egocentric and more collaborative, to support and encourage other people to speak up and be heard. They emphasized the value and uniqueness of each individual's story and focused on building strong relationships with the community rather than trying to rise above it. Slowly, the heroes started to see change within the community. People began listening to each other more intently and helping each other find their voices. They supported each other and cheered each other on, encouraging people to embrace their authenticity, even if it wasn't as flashy or attention-grabbing as their own. As more people joined the heroes movement, the change rippled outward, spreading to new groups and new neighborhoods. Eventually, staying in their lane became a symbol of pride and connection, a way of showing respect and support for one another, instead of trying to tear each other down. Today, the hero's legacy lives on. Audience member raises hand. I don't get it. Huh? What don't you get? Audience member stands up. It's kind of vague. Isn't this about self-promotion and popularity or something? I thought that's what you wanted to tell us. Well, yes, that was part of it, but it's also about learning to appreciate your own uniqueness and celebrating the things that make you special rather than trying to imitate or outshine other people. Audience member takes a seat, okay. Does that clear it up for you? Is there anything else you need help with? No, that's it! Great job! I'm going to spread this to everyone I know. Thank you.
And that's where that's too much myth. I'm sorry. That's not gonna happen. Thank you for helping me with that dog whistle. Nairlem 13B. right. We'll do, no, this one now. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. Why?
Welcome to Myths for Now, where we operate with the notion that myths are condensed educational tools, distilling centuries of trial and error into a sticky narrative meant to pass along to subsequent generations so that they don't have to do the same mistakes as their predecessors. Tonight, we will create a myth regarding the importance of staying in your lane. Roll out the myth maker, please. Don't be fooled on this modest AV cart. This little glass dome is unfurling on this slender ticker tape a string of words that I will recite to you now, this myth dedicated to the well-being of our posterity. Thank you for invoking the power of the myth maker. Legend has it that this marvel of machinery can stitch together any tale in a flash, spinning words into yarn that can change our perspective. From it, we'll carve a narrative that inspires our youth to find meaning and guidance. Let's make it powerful enough that they won't ignore its sage wisdom. With its blurb flashing on the bright ticker tape, here we are creating a story that illustrates how destructive it can be to poke your nose in others' business and share all the righteously highbrow things they think. One should mind their own lane, especially when someone might accidentally infringe upon yours. While such cases of misguided hubris rarely lead to catastrophic failure, they can easily add undue friction into the mundane run and take of every day, resulting in far less productive and harmonious productivity. Keep to our lanes of expertise. There is no time like today to implement this principle into our daily routines. We, each and every one, have our individual lanes and identities. Stay on track in your personal path. Never force your thoughts and opinions onto others that aren't specifically concerned with the topic at hand, be it religion or politics or lifestyle choices, whatever it may be. No one in the history of history has been able to make a true difference through imposing his or her beliefs anyway. You know, ever heard about the good old Titan Omechio, the fall of Babylon? This phenomenon can also extend to hobbies or talents, or in simple phrases. Artistry must thrive and conquer on its own merit, no third-party mediation or forcing. Don't compare your skills with those of your friends or coworkers or family. We're all uniquely us. After all, a key pillar to sticking to the regular and laid out traffic lanes is learning how to properly flow with everyone around us, taking up their own stretch of road without pushing or poking where you aren't wanted. Even the speeding rule suggests that individuals ought to match up and not veer off-grid with another bumper to bumper, turn by turn, at your very peril. Of course, let's never stray so much into boorish detail, but try and see the essence of this lovely lane mythology to guide us to tomorrow's productivity peak. Just be sure. And who knows, that long drive back to college campus or first summer job just might start with sticking to the guide for easy transition on the campus lanes or a busy restaurant highway. Stay safe and make sense wherever you are. May it come a day, a wild, hopeful dream, that one generation out there listens and carries these myths to heart. Together, we're just another crew cruising down the metaphoric boulevard of human learning, thumbs at our helm. What a fantastic experience we could enjoy by keeping it neat and friendly, canny and sensible. Who wouldn't want that simple happiness and simplicity from life itself? Isn't it just something we must strive and commit to becoming with every fleeting myth whispered at our tiny capstone cars? Nudge, nudge, and toot, toot. I know you deserve your fame among today's wittiest places. Keep telling these fun little jokes. Did you hear about the 1,000 ways for one rule to boil the broth? Wait, have I misunderstood any portion of this dear gentleman's noble tribute myth? Well, he doesn't need an old crackpot telling him what to say. By golly, Mythic Boy here has me floored at the force of his flair. May these few precious little remarks the old machine has tirelessly rendered find lasting brilliance and joy and victory. It's so nice to ride in friendly unity. Hey, keeps us from running around like a mad wahoo, or gifting us those pesky parking tickets or wrinkled faces. I can't imagine us cranky citizens working to recreate one timeless line. Why fuss your kicks around the hearth's ruins of conversation with life's sharp antonyms? That just wasn't the right season or occasion right there. Well, they got my funny bone going, my dear, if anything. It's not so hard to brighten a message with humor, small heart, or twist of wit. Dawa. Let's end on this little merry tune of myth. How well and positively delightful it would be to look at the footnoted word and smile with universal reprise and shifts. Mythal Zaketch. Snorum. Funkle Muntle. Bump on thumb nut. Huh. Oh. Did someone call the ambulance? Can't breathe quite right just then. Oh, darling soul, fret, unfriend or foe, the gentle spirit that stalls no shame or haste from your heart's sweet song.
Bless your heart. Now, last one, and we'll wrap it up.
Welcome to Myths for Now, where we operate with the notion that myths are condensed educational tools, distilling centuries of trial and error into a sticky narrative meant to pass along to subsequent generations, so that they don't have to do the same mistakes as their predecessors. Tonight, we will create a myth regarding the importance of staying in your lane. Roll out the myth maker, please. Don't be fooled on this modest AV card. This little glass stone is unfurling on this slender ticker tape a string of words that I will recite to you now. This myth dedicated to the well-being of our posterity. Fortsätter Seshawacho Hamhameth mit Typshow Uju Berai Truartits Undesaptricus Bepranka Store for Thidmok Hella to get soup called Afin Minokbo Figfunjo Harchusoids One Anna Tricubito Perfect / Feminomactomy Monserranta Cash on Day Weekend by Committee Catipus Play Hecamoline Heap Trey Canthaus Serial No Motion It Even Fun by Finright the Hero Side Bartles Gnosis Some.
Hold on, I'll just slap it. Give it a little fawns.
Welcome to Myths for Now, where we operate with the notion that myths are condensed educational tools, distilling centuries of trial and error into a sticky narrative meant to pass along to subsequent generations so that they don't have to do the same mistakes as their predecessors. Tonight, we will create a myth regarding the importance of staying in your lane. Roll out the myth maker, please. Don't be fooled on this modest AV card. This little glass stone is unfurling on this slender ticker tape a string of words that I will recite to you now. This myth dedicated to the well-being of our posterity. Junson was incredibly frustrated, waiting on our in a maze of green Kesia as the bloop bloop noise drilled a hole through his plum perk head. But soon enough, the tiny bell atop his fur-covered handheld buzz-buzz's full DZ Zad, and his turn came quickly, and he hopped on a talking fit-tatty-patty pop-box digger that would lead him through the green Kismiesa on an adventure. A hot-chip, spiry, warm-on Laskity, and there were a lot of kids there with him, and they kept bouncing around in his way. Then he found another kid running around the maze just ahead of everyone, so she kept stopping everyone while the kid was ahead, and causing traffic jams across a whole field of rainbow kites flying around their ears. He got more and more incited, yelling at all the other kids saying how she ruined everything. Then the mother of the lead runner pulled out her whip and gave the runaway little Miss Spotch a reel. Hard lick on the flank, blaze nudge, a dagger should bucky snap sting Daney. And even though some of her offspring and extended relatives cried, she explained, who's gonna keep them out of their own backfield when no one is around? You think a child knows right from wrong all on their own. The world doesn't congruence funnies in higher academy or asterisk colors of the rainbow Great Sassagon boo-made passets full illicotic. It's the children themselves that gotta get their act right. The sooner they learn theme, the happier and more law-bounded we will be. Shoosh, hussa. That is a myth for now. Please, myth makere a little sound clip so we remember the talk forever. Sound effect. No, no.
One more from this level of Asper, or Writer's Demon. One more. That was a little webisode.
You blink for but an instant and all the fibers in your blanket warp overnight. Trying to tune the glass land-bound tower one rock at a time wears hard. But what is the importance behind staying in one's lane? Absolute magnanimity. Hardness toward thy peers. Understanding your boundaries and adoring your lot. For just as we cannot all have mountains when we crave seas, humans also can't get it in our minds that we're truly equal or unique. Our egos bloom outward into a vast array of quirks and delusions until all bleary in. Greedy inferior so wide my pecs bounce out from my chest fluff and hit my jiggle bimps. So we all need to agree to disagree at just who is bigger. But for some, there is simply not the time and dedication required to continue learning and adapting. Their efforts fall short or disappear with every distraction they pursue, and their minds are left faltering. So the only course of action is that some simply must stick to what is suited to them and stay away from complexity for a peaceful life and an orderly demise. Now thrust in dangerous hero blocks is misted there for us to be saved. But what will a lone coward do amongst these trumpet beasts, too scared to raise their eyes? What can a shire meek accomplish, outspoken and boasted against, without support or guidance from anyone beside themselves? How much easier life could be without competition if for once there could be real cooperation born of respect and not merely empty agreements. Unfortunately, there isn't nearly enough for any one of us, and our days of innocence end with childhoods as the reality of growing. Up surrounds the inevitable dusk onwards. Nature drives and succulent gucks proceed, don't you catch you? Oh, you who are fragilest, for those too tender-hearted or too weak-headed, it is simply no longer possible for any dream but those in the foreground. So stay strong if you feel the weight upon you, but lift like you're leveling off of the bench, because stars above, alone is bad, but a team is worse than nothing and could lead you into danger like those heroes in their vines. Metaphors ending myth today stop strange-ish. Phew, a myth might look so simple on the front end, but the creation gets longer with every step. Thank you, Myth Taker. You simply take on so much work and provide endless energy in such a focused fashion. Now how about helping with these squeaky wheels before they drive us all mad? I shall be sure that the message is distributed correctly tonight at dinner, though I wonder if not mentioning the Mythmaker unless truly necessary would add more mystery.
That's it for now. That's it for now. Alright. Gonna try to start a day.